Finally here, part 2, Magic vs. Bird, Courtship of Rivals. Let's go.
It's JAMEENOD and I'm back up in the building, giving y'all hot topics and reactions and I'm feeling. Comment your suggestions and I got ya. And be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel.
What's going on, guys? I hope y'all having a fantastic day. Man, this has been a journey. This documentary is more than just about basketball. This is about the dying of one league and the resurrection of another. With these two great players, Magic and Larry Bird, they definitely saved the league. This is about overcoming obstacles and overcoming your own personal demons. And this should, bring hope to viewers. That if they can overcome all of that, you can too. So let's get to it, guys. Let's go.
What tripped me out was I'm riding in the limo and I'm seeing orange trees and lemon trees in people's front yards. I said, stop, I gotta go pick an orange. Are you crazy? I said, no, I gotta do this. And so I ran up like a scared little kid, grabbed the orange and ran back to the limo. I'd never seen an orange tree. I'd never seen a lemon tree. I was fascinated.
When 20-year-old Irvin Johnson arrived in Los Angeles in the fall of 1979, he was a world away from Lansing, the only home he'd ever known. He was the #1 pick of the LA Lakers, a once dominant franchise stuck in mediocrity. In the stoic Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the Lakers had talent, was energy. Irvin Magic Johnson was only too happy to provide it.
Now, guys, I did not touch the dial. It went straight to this part. I'm not quite sure if it's supposed to do that or not, but I went to 2 different videos and it did the same exact thing. I thought it probably glitched, but this is how it's playing out. But one thing I want to say is it's so crazy and so funny how they went to 2 different cities that matched their personality so well. Him going to LA and then Bird going to the Celtics, it matched their personality. This was like they could have cooked this up no better than this at all.
Lit the place up. Changed the franchise, changed the temperament. I changed it from the very first game.
Skyhook up and good. Lakers win.
Here it was, the first game of a long season against the lowly Clippers. And Magic was embracing Kareem as if they'd just won their 10th straight championship. It was like, man, this is a different kind of dude.
From the day he arrived, he became the prince of the city. He reminded me of a guy who wakes up without an alarm clock. And that's what I used to always say. I want to be happy enough to wake up without an alarm clock because I want to go into my world.
He had it, what it is. As far as I was concerned, the it was not his ability or his size. The it was his attitude, was his leadership, was his mind. I mean, I don't have to talk about Game 6 at Philadelphia.
Magic Johnson will shove.
In his rookie season, Magic had helped lead the Lakers to the NBA Finals against the Philadelphia 76ers. In Game 6, with an injured Abdul-Jabbar back home in LA, Magic played all 5 positions, scored 42 points, grabbed 15 rebounds, and dished out 7 assists, leading the Lakers to the championship. In just 4 years, he had won titles in high school, college, and the pros.
Magic, what do you have that makes you perform like this in these championship games?
They don't talk about that a lot. This guy went to high school, college, and the pros. Now, when they talk about Kareem, they always talk about that narrative. This is my first time really hearing about that because I didn't really know much about Magic Johnson's high school career until I watched this documentary. I didn't know any of it. So this is very interesting. Yeah, did not know that.
I don't know, just I love to win.
Across the masthead of the Los Angeles Times the next day, it said, "It's Magic."
He was a star when he first arrived here, coming off the NC2A game. And quickly, during that first season, he became one of the stars in town. But that game put him on another level. That made him the star in town.
It's funny how I wanted to meet the celebrities, but they wanted to meet me. I was like shocked. Like, wow, you know who I am?
He was young, famous, and after Lakers owner Jerry Buss signed him to a 25-year, $25 million contract, very rich. The kid from Lansing was ready to sample a different kind of fruit. His playboy boss knew all the ripest trees.
I said, oh, I'm hanging with him. When they were coming into the box and he had 10, 20 of them, and look, Irvin, which one you want? And I was like, oh, okay, it's like that? And then he said, I'm going to take you to the Playboy Mansion. What?
This is a very interesting connection between player and owner. It's almost like they were best friends. You're taking your best player to do all this stuff. It's like you would want your player on their best behavior. you would think, right? You would think. But hey, he's like, no, we hanging out. I'm gonna show you around. I mean, that's different.
The mansion? No, you're kidding. I said, yep. So I went there, and my first time, I'm backing up like, I can't believe I'm in, but I'm backing up away. You know, it's like, I'm scared to death. Probably 10 guys to 100 women, you know. Everybody think it's sex-driven, but it's really not. You have dinner, then you watch the latest movie. And then, of course, I don't want to ever say that sex wasn't involved, because if you meet somebody, that's what, you know, you wanted to do, you did that. But it's really...
Stop the cap. Stop the cap, Magic. Stop the cap. Sex was the number one thing at those Playboy Mansions. That's why he was taking you there. At the end of the day, that was going to be the highlight of the day. Come on, Magic. Come on. Come on now. You got to be honest here now.
Great experience to go up there. So, yeah, I had fun there.
He came to L.A. like the Pied Piper. You know, people were giving him this and giving him that. But, you know, he stayed pretty grounded to the game.
Everybody was getting high then, but you can't even smoke a joint around Magic.
He had real old school, down in the trenches work ethic. And that was honed in him by his dad, Irvin Johnson Sr.
Magic was always this guy. You know, he never did none of that, so I did everything for him.
Magic Johnson was living on a natural high. He was starring in the role of a lifetime, point guard of a Hollywood team with an offense called Showtime. He even had the alter ego perfect for the production.
I mean, Magic was his stage name. Even he would laugh about it.
Well, he always says there's two people. There's Irvin Johnson from East Lansing, and there's Magic Johnson from Hollywood.
Irvin Johnson is another guy. You know, here's Magic over here, and here's Irvin over here.
Irvin is this fun-loving guy. Magic was so serious and dedicated to his game, and he was a crazy, crazy competitor and a crazy man.
Irvin, I think, is the smiling kid from Lansing. I think Irvin died about 25 minutes after the NCAA championship game.
Irvin doesn't have the ego that Magic has. Magic got a crazy ego, and winning is everything.
And Irvin wanted to, along with Magic, conquer LA.
After having led the Lakers to 2 NBA titles in their first 4 years in town, Magic and Irvin were well on their way.
I think Magic wanted to be friends with Larry Bird. He wanted to be friends with him on the world.
I want to say something real quick. I think what made Magic was him off the court. I'm going to say this. I've been watching Larry Bird on the court. Larry Bird passing was crazy. I think it probably would have still been a Showtime with Larry Bird with the Lakers. If we're talking about just like passing and you know, those passes were amazing that Larry Bird made. Maybe it was just Magic's personality too that made that Lakers team Magic, you know, spectacular. But as far as like passing and making spectacular plays, Larry had that. It was just that maybe it was just the personality too that went along with it. Because if you want to talk about passing, Larry was just as good as a passer. With the defense set, I'm gonna make the case that Larry Bird was probably a better passer with the defense set.
Invitational tournament, and Larry just wasn't very receptive. I think he wanted to be friends with him during the Final Four. Larry wouldn't even go over and shake his hand. So now Magic's saying, well, what's with this guy? Everybody loves me. How come you don't love me? And then they get to their rookie year, the first time they play each other. Well, they have a very hard foul. And they have to be separated a little bit. And Magic's like, all right, well, the heck with this guy. You don't like me? Fine. All right, good. I don't like you either.
You know, he's a very competitive player, and I'm a very competitive player, and we go head to head, and we go for blood almost.
The vibe was nasty. It was ugly. It was we didn't like each other.
I'm the one that did all that. To tell you the truth, I just want to be hanging around him. I mean, that was my main competition.
And he couldn't escape the memory of losing to him in 1979.
Oh, it ate at him bad that he didn't win that national title against Magic. That was something, it just burned him.
It was one thing for them to be in the 79 championship. Magic had the better team. Everybody agreed with that. Magic had the better game. Fine. Now you get to the pros. Larry has this incredible year.
Bird, a runner. It's good!
But there he is, watching in a club while Magic Johnson wins a championship, and he's thinking, all right, I'm behind 2-0 now.
I watched that game, and I couldn't believe it. I always wanted to play at that level.
But what Bird couldn't possibly have known was that he had inspired Magic's performance when he was named Rookie of the Year earlier that same day.
The PR person from the Lakers says, hey, Irvin, the Rookie of the Year voting has come out. And Magic says, okay, well, who won? He said, well, Larry Bird won. And Magic says, well, was it close? And he said, oh, no. He went out that day, yes, to try to win the NBA championship, but also to prove it to one Larry Bird. You know what? I should have been Rookie of the Year.
Even though I won the championship, I still wanted to win the Rookie of the Year.
I know that had to sting. Winning a championship and then you ain't win Rookie of the Year and you play all 5 positions in the finals, you did all of this stuff. That had to sting. But I bet Magic Johnson's roster was definitely better than Larry's. And Larry must have put up some crazy stats, y'all. I'm gonna have to look that up. I'm gonna have to look his stats up.
He won that championship. I was pissed. I want him one.
But even after he had won one the next year, his obsession only grew deeper.
I'd get up in the mornings and see what he did because their games came on late. Then you look at the box score. I had to have him there for some reason. It's like a crutch. Somebody I can compare myself to.
I hated what was being said that Larry was better than me and I'm just a guy who can control the game. My first 4 or 5 years, that bothered me a lot. I didn't tell nobody it bothered me, but it did.
Their competitive dislike emerged from a greater truth, that on the court, they were doppelgangers. Team-oriented stars who cared about winning above all else. Basketball savants who fused...
See, y'all see what I'm saying about the passing? Larry Bird was just as good as a passer as Magic Johnson. I think really what made that team magical, if you want to say that, it was his personality. But if you want to say the Showtime was because of the passing, Larry Bird could have did that. All day. All day. I'm telling you, all day.
Substance of the 60s with the style of the 70s to create a new and exciting yet selfless way to play the game in the 1980s.
Yeah, I'm going to pass. But I'm going to pass in a way to make you look like a jackass. They were so similar in the way they competed. I mean, they were 2 halves of the same brain.
Same craziness to excel.
I seen that first couple of days I was with him.
Basketball IQ off the chart.
Seen the game a little different, most players.
Playing the game the right way was everything.
A lot of guys can just score. A lot of guys can just rebound. A lot of guys can just make plays. We can do it all.
Larry and Magic could control the game with 12 shots. It was amazing. They'd be 7 for 12. They'd have 20 points, 15 rebounds, and 12 assists. And you go, man, the guy shot the ball 12 times and was the best player on the court by far.
But I think it was tough at first. I don't think either one of them wanted to recognize that they had any equal anywhere in what they did. But they sure as hell didn't want to recognize that their equal happened to be that other guy.
That's why we hated each other too, because we knew we were mirrors of each other.
I think for a while the two of them had to come to grips with that.
They had begun changing the game, but with continued low television ratings and tape-delayed finals, the league was struggling to get the word out. When the NBA and CBS signed a new TV deal before the 82-83 season, the rescue plan was simple. Sell more Bird and Magic, and sell them not just as ball players, but as arch-rival characters in their own dramatic saga.
You got this.
I mean, they not lying, because that's exactly what they were. And they are one and the same. They are one and the same. It's just, I think Larry Bird had more of an all-around game because he could shoot. Magic Johnson wasn't a deadly shooter. No, not really a post-up, even though he did a little bit. But they were one and the same.
Slick Showtime African-American guy out west, and you got the lunch bucket, floppy-haired white guy with the bruises all over his body. It's central casting. It's perfect.
I mean, this was like made in heaven. In 1979, this idea of Magic and Bird was created, and so that was sort of a no-brainer. We'd have a doubleheader. It would be the Celtics playing first and the Lakers playing second, and that's the way we did it.
And when the Celtics and Lakers both reached the finals just a year into the new TV deal in 1984, it appeared the superstar investment was about to pay off.
It was huge. It was probably the biggest moment the NBA had up to that point. You had Boston and LA, East against West. It had all the elements of a classic showdown.
Including what was becoming the most inescapable element of all.
Did we know that blacks and whites were lining up, the whites with the Celtics, the blacks with... Of course we knew that.
Even in the Celtics' own backyard.
They land at Logan Airport at the 84 finals. He's getting accosted by various people who are telling him Larry's going to take him down. But this one older African-American gentleman comes up to me and goes, Magic, I want to wish you well. Good luck. I want you to crush the Celtics. And he said, oh, well, where are you from? He said, well, I'm from Boston. And he said, you're from Boston and you're rooting for the Lakers? I thought everybody here was crazy about the Celtics. And he looked right at me and he said, now why would I root for those white boys?
Yo, this rivalry was so big, it was about to turn to a race war, guys. This is how big Larry Bird and Magic Johnson made basketball, guys. This is how big they made it. This is wild, man. I'm laughing because I know Larry hated doing those photo shoots and interviews with Magic Johnson. I know something crawled inside of him and died. Just looking at his face.
Boston, after all, was a town still scarred by the ugly busing crisis of the mid-70s. A violent period of urban unrest during which white had been pitted against black. The resulting taint on the city nationally, coupled with a Boston roster littered with white players, affirmed to many black Americans that the Celtics were not the team for them.
Even today, people said, you played with the Celtics, and I hated you at that time. I wanted Magic to win. I didn't want that damn Larry Bird to win. We had all these black players, but they looked at us because we had Larry Bird leading us as a team that was white.
They were perfect archetypes for what was becoming the biggest story in sports. But for the real-life players, the narrative was much simpler.
It's finally going to happen. We get to go head-to-head again. It's just a matter of rolling that ball out there and let's get it on.
Welcome then to the Boston Garden and the start of the NBA World Championship Series. I'm Brent Musburger. In each of the last 4 NBA World Championship Series, either Magic or Bird has competed. But this is the first time that the two have gone head-to-head for the title.
Man, we jumped out on them that first game, and we won in Boston.
And with less than a minute to go in Game 2, the Lakers were closing in on a commanding series lead.
And it's back off. off the heavens and he lays it off and it's all tied up.
From that point on, things began to crumble.
Down to 9 seconds. Magic holding the ball. Magic trying to work on Maxwell. Magic has still got it down to 2 seconds. 1 second. He's going to have to shoot it. He doesn't get it off. He doesn't get it off.
Cheesy Johnson dribbling the timeout. What are you doing?
The Lakers regained their stride in Game 3, only to be rudely knocked off it again in Game 4.
And now let's watch it. Cooper and the Celtics, and now the bench is empty.
When Kurt Rambis got taken out, we started fighting instead of playing.
Kareem swings the elbow, and now is yelling at Larry Bird. Jaw to jaw.
And it made...
Dude, back then, it looked like you needed a paramedic on standby. 2 or 3 of them. Because some of these shots they was taking back then was ridiculous. I mean, god dang.
Realized we were not mentally tougher than the Celtics.
Magic's just not himself.
To be sure they won't let the time run out as they did in Game 2. Harris steals the ball and the Celtics call a timeout.
There were a number of places where, Irvin didn't do what people expected him to do.
Tied at 123. He misses the first. Johnson misses them both. Celtics want a timeout. Despondent, Magic Johnson goes to the bench. Bird turnaround, hits.
Game 5 went to the Celtics. Game 6 to the Lakers. It was like 1979 all over again. Down to 1 game for Bird and Magic.
If everybody had to look at it, probably would have said this is going to be a 7-game series.
No, I thought we'd sweep them in 4, but
Yo, Larry is funny in his own way, man. Larry is funny. He said he thought they was going to sweep him. Man, look, y'all. I didn't know some of this. Did this game come down to the wire? Did somebody get blown out in Game 7? Let's find out. This is new to me, y'all. This is new to me.
longer, now we just have to do it in 7. That's the only time I ever felt that. There ain't no way they're walking out here with a win.
Magic Johnson.
No way.
Lakers have several chances, and here's Larry Bird chucking down the cross. Bird. How does he do it? Now Johnson with the ball. The Lakers trying to cut it to 1. And he loses it. The Boston Celtics are the NBA World Champions.
I pride myself in being the guy who's going to win it for us and deliver under pressure. And it didn't happen.
I hope he was hurt and hope it killed him. He made some bad plays down the stretch and nobody.
The way Larry Bird comes on camera, I mean, he is brutally honest. I hope we hurt him. I hope he was hurting. Hope he was like that. Larry wanted that revenge so bad. That revenge was so sweet for Larry. That was the best sleep Larry got in a long time. That boy slept like a baby. He probably went to the club that night, y'all. That was probably a different Larry that night.
He was happier than me. Not only winning the game makes you feel good, but just knowing the other guy's suffering, and you know he was.
I remember after the game that both he and I were in the showers crying and stayed in there for about 35, 40 minutes.
Dang, not in the showers crying. Oh my goodness. In the showers crying, y'all.
It was hard because not only had we lost to the Boston Celtics, he had lost to his nemesis, Larry Bird.
I think he just made me dislike him more, you know, because he was that good. And I think you be jealous. You jealous a little bit.
Larry, does this get you even with Magic for what happened between Michigan State and Indiana State all those many years ago? Yeah, we're professionals now, but I won this one for Terre Haute.
Well, it was a big deal. I remember asking Quinn Buckner about it afterwards. They had a celebration in downtown Boston after they won the championship. And, you know, it was unusual for Larry to have these little outbursts, as Quinn would call them. But, you know, about 11:30 at night, finally he turned to Quinn. He goes, I got him. I finally got him. And he was talking about Magic.
The league was rejoicing too. Game 7 of the '84 series was one of CBS's highest-rated telecasts of the year, and the highest-rated game the NBA had ever produced.
All of a sudden, whether it was at CBS or Madison Avenue, the sports writers around the country became a phenomenon. What is happening here? The absolute foundation in this resurgence was the Celtics and the Lakers, Larry Bird and Magic Johnson.
But Magic was in no mood to bask in the accomplishment.
I took a media beating. Tragic Magic. This is why we say Larry Bird is better. It's probably the first time ever in my life I was depressed. And I didn't want people to see me. It was something I never dealt with in my life.
That particular series, that championship series, redefined his whole career because he never stopped working after that.
Magic was on a mission to prove to himself and the world that with the ball in his hands, he was still the one in control.
All right, so we're going to stop right there. I will do part 3. Magic coming back, maybe getting a win. This is so funny, man, because Larry does not hold back. And now Magic is feeling everything Larry felt. Man, but hey, stay tuned. Last part, final part, part 3. Magic Johnson versus Larry Bird, a courtship of rivals. This is so funny, you know, and so informative and dives deep in so many different ways, y'all. Great history lesson as well. I'm gonna get up out of here. It's JAMEENOD. Bye.
It's JAMEENOD, and I'm back up in the building, giving y'all hot topics and reactions, and I'm feeling. Comment your suggestions and I got ya. And be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Oh my, I got another one.